So, Noha, yes, okay. Let's share the video again and see it together and discuss it after watching, inshallah, okay? Bismillah. And tell me when you can hear the sound, okay?
Or a part of speech, such as adjectives. It could look like this.
Let's start it again from the beginning.
Want to get really motivated and have fun when you're learning English? Watch this video to find out how you can teach and learn English with games. Let's go! I've created this second video about how to teach and learn games in English because so many of you enjoyed the last one that I did and asked for more. So here it is. Games and fun activities are a really important part of teaching and learning English. As a learner, you will be more motivated and excited to learn English if it's fun. And as a teacher, games will leave your students leaving your classroom wanting to come back for more. Do you want really engaged students? Then give them games as a way to learn. There are loads of reasons why games should be a part of your English, whether you're learning it or teaching it. They can help you to learn English faster, improve your English understanding, and help you to learn phrases and vocabulary much better and often in context too. Now, in my first video, I talked about how games can improve your learning of English, so be sure to watch that video with this one. In the classroom, you can use games as a warmer at the beginning of your lesson, of course, during the lesson to change pace, or if the students are not as engaged as they should be, you make sure that they're more engaged that way, and also at the end of the lesson as a consolidation, like a plenary of what you've just been teaching. And as a learner, of course, it's a really fun way of learning English with friends or with family. So today, I'm going to get straight into more games, showing you how to use these to increase the fun in your English lessons and in your English learning. So, number 1, Chalkboard Acronym. This is a great simple game for developing vocabulary mainly. Write a word vertically on the board and then have students come up one at a time to write a word starting with each letter of the vertical word. So for example, you could write a word like table, and then you would have words such as tall, apple, button, lake, elephant. You could make it harder by using a theme or a part of speech, such as adjectives. It could look like this. The word could be huge, so you would get students to write up words such as helpful, ugly, gorgeous, elegant. Of course, as a learner, you can easily adapt to using this yourself, either on your own or with a friend, and using a sheet of paper.
Okay, so what is the name of the first game? What is the name of the first game?
Chalkboard
Acronym, yes. And how can we apply it? How can we apply it?
We write a word vertically, and students come to write words, begin with the first letter of this word.
Excellent. And what about the skills? Which skills does it develop?
Writing.
Writing, only writing?
And reading.
And reading, only writing and reading? What
Speaking.
about 21st? Yeah, speaking. What about, does it develop critical thinking or problem solving?
Yes, of course, critical thinking. Of course,
of course, critical thinking. Creativity, when they try to think of other words starting with the same letter or the same sound, and we can make it more advanced when we try to vary it, to ask them to write, to start with, to think of some adverbs, prepositions. Yeah, of course, according to the parts of speech, maybe to start the word with the last letter of the word that they have written, so it develops lots of skills. Okay, let's see together the second game.
Number 2, put yourself in someone's shoes. Now, on the idea of developing unusual adjectives, here's another game that is brilliant for that. It develops vocabulary, creative thinking, and it needs writing too. This game is for any level of English learner, from elementary through to pre-intermediate, even upper intermediate. It tests students' knowledge of adjectives concerning physical appearance, phrases to explain hobbies, and vocabulary for clothes too. Now this game can also be differentiated for different levels. So for lower level classes, you could start with a review of the vocabulary that they're going to need to use for this activity, this game. For higher level, more advanced students, you could start off with like a debating question, such as, what does it mean to put yourself in someone else's shoes? So divide the class into pairs. This works quite well for large classes actually. So when they're in pairs, give each pair a picture of a pair of shoes. It could be red high heels or bright yellow sandals, something unusual. The students then have to imagine the person that owns that particular pair of shoes. So each pair must describe this person in detail. So what they're wearing, what they do in their free time, what their job is, using a range of verbs and vocabulary. Then get the students to write it all down, accurately of course. Of course, more advanced students can even create a story about the person that owns the shoes. There are loads of possibilities. The other great thing about this game is you can actually use it for really large classes, such as 40 or 50. You can divide the students into teams rather than pairs. It's also a game that you can do at home with a friend. You can have real fun with your imagination. Oh, before I share the next game, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell.
What is the name of the second game?
Put yourself in someone's shoes.
Yeah. What is the idea of the game? What is the idea of the game?
For students to guess where the pair of shoes belong to each students, to one of the students, I think.
Yeah, this is a way to choose a picture of a different or a strange pair of shoes, and ask the students to try to imagine the person who's wearing these or this pair of shoes. How does he look like? Is he tall or short? What's he doing? How does he think? What's his hobbies, interests? This is one idea. And can we adapt it in a different way? Can we change this picture of a pair of shoes to other things?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And this is the main benefit of choosing the game. We can adapt to the game according to our students and according to the vocabulary they are familiar to. For example, we can show them a flashcard of a dress, for example, maybe of a pair of trousers, maybe a pair of glasses, maybe a pair of sunglasses, and ask them to try to think of the character of the owner of these glasses or the pair of shoes or the dress and so on. What about the skills? Which skills does this game develop? Which skills does it develop?
Critical thinking skills.
Yeah, of course, critical thinking, imagination, of course, creative imagination, not only imagination, because they try to, yeah, creativity, of course. What about the 4 language skills? Which skills does it develop?
Writing.
Writing, of course. Only writing?
Speaking.
Okay, what else? Speaking, what else?
We can
reading.
Use it in Unit 6.
Yeah, so we can, yes, it can develop all the 4 language skills. Listening, they can listen to the teacher when he gives clear instructions at the very beginning. They can speak when they try to think at the brainstorming stage at the very beginning, when they try to think of different ideas and brainstorm their ideas and tell their ideas to the teacher or to their friends or the rest of their teams. Also speaking when they write down their ideas into either sentences or paragraphs and stand up to read. So they read, they speak, they listen and write, and of course they imagine, they create something new, they of course they solve a problem maybe, which we can ask them, for example, do you think the owner of this dress, is he a strict person or a funny person, and so on? So it depends on the teacher. Where does he live? Excellent, Hannah.
What is the weather? What is the weather?
Great, yes. If, for example, we are showing them a hat, We can ask them what is the weather like, where does he live, is it in summer or in winter, for example, if it's an umbrella and so on. So here we can develop the critical thinking, of course, skill, and this is very important to vary the activities or try to adapt it in a different way rather than the one shown on the video,
Using
okay?
cloth. I used it yesterday to teach the lesson in Unit 6, Primary 1, about
Yeah, lucky your students,
yes,
Hannah, by the way. Yes, about what?
about places.
Yeah, that's great. What about young learners, my dear friends? What about young learners? How can we adapt a game like this with young learners?
Yes, I hold some pictures about Port Said and Alexandria.
Yes, Luxor and
Aswan,
Aswan,
Luxor,
Cairo.
yes.
Yeah,
And I
I
asked
taught the
about,
same lesson. Yeah.
yes, I asked
Yes.
them, if you live in Luxor, what will you wear? And what is the weather like in this place? They chose,
Yes.
yes, they chose the right cloth for the right
Yeah.
place.
Did they talk about them? Did they talk about them?
Little.
Yeah. Yes. So this is very important to encourage them to try to speak or express their ideas in short sentences. Excellent, Hannah. Amazing and gorgeous as usual, Hannah. We learn from you.
So you don't miss any of these videos and lessons. And also, if you'd like me to coach you on a one-to-one basis, either as a teacher or as a learner, just email me on deirdre@palmtreeteaching.com. You may even have an important interview coming up or an exam, and I'm here to help you with that. I can help you prepare for the interview and for the exam as well. So just contact me if you need me. So, game number three, Taboo. Of course, this is an old favourite. It works really well with students to practice their descriptions and synonyms. So separate your class in half and have the two teams sitting opposite each other. Each of the teams chooses one person to sit in front of them in the hot seat. As the teacher, you stand behind the students and you hold up a piece of paper with a word on it, but make sure that the person in the hot seat does not see that word. So then you give your teams a time, like say 3 minutes, and they have to get the person in the hot seat to say the word. But here's the catch. Your teams can't actually say the word itself. They have to describe it and find ways of trying to get the word from the person in the hot seat.
So, what's the game of the third game?
Taboo.
And also we play it in a different way, the hot seat. Do you know the hot seat?
Yes.
You divide your classroom into 2 teams, or maybe they can work all in groups as a whole class. And you can ask one of the students to sit down on the hot seat, and the teacher chooses a word and asks the rest of the class to describe the word, maybe individually. And the student who's sitting on the hot seat is trying to guess what the word is. So again, we make sure that all the time, or we try to stress that we can adapt the game according to our classes, according to the number of students, according to it depends on lots of things like the level of students, the age of the students, what skill are we trying to develop? Is it speaking? Is it reading? Is it writing? And so on. So we can adapt any game in a way which suits our classes, of course. Okay.
Number 4, where shall I go? This is a really great game for testing prepositions of movement, and it can be used as a teacher, of course. It can be used after you've presented the vocabulary as a way of consolidating their understanding. It's great for speaking and listening. Also, as a learner, you can just do it in a pair. So if you're a teacher, before your students arrive, rearrange your classroom so that the chairs create lots of obstacles. Then, when the students arrive, you put them into pairs and you blindfold one of each pair. Now, the blindfolded student is led by their partner through the maze of chairs and given directions by the partner. These directions can be prepositions of movement, such as go under, go over, go to the right, go down, until the person reaches a particular place in the classroom. Of course, you can also do this outside in a park or a garden. That works really well, both as a teacher with a class and as a learner. And this could actually add extra vocabulary, such as walk 50 paces or something like that. And then, of course, you swap over the partners. So I've put a couple of links to how you can use games to learn English, both as a learner and also as a teacher in the classroom. And I've put the links below this video for you. They're all free. So don't forget to like.
Okay, so what is the name of the fourth game?
Where shall I go?
Yeah, where shall I go? And how can we play it with our learners?
By using propositions, using action verbs, go under,
Yes.
go over, above.
Yeah, and
under.
putting the desks or the chairs having some obstacles, and we can
Yes.
ask, of course, two pairs of students to try one blindfolded and the other one to guide him to the right way or to use the right direction. Okay, which game of these four games you find new and useful and you can apply it with your learners?
I think the first one is Chalkboard Acronym. Suitable
Yeah,
for the
it's
students,
easy.
but, we
Yeah.
must choose simple words, because students, it's difficult for students
Sure,
somehow.
of course. Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
to
But as
apply for the
Noha
students
mentioned,
to know the words. Yes.
sure. But as Noha mentioned before, if you encourage your learners, they will really amaze you. By the way, you'll find that they are, especially if they are having a race or a competition, you'll find that they have a lot of vocabulary and they are trying to win the race. So it's a challenge for them, and they will actually amaze you. By the way, okay. What about put yourself in someone's shoes? What about it? Is it applicable in our classes, and which grade can we apply it with? Put yourself in the other's shoes when we choose a flashcard. Yeah. Which grade? Yes.
I can apply it easily with preparatory stage.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
They can describe, they have a lot of vocabulary to describe.
Yes, sure. Okay, so it's up to you now to watch another video or to end up our session for today. So the choice is yours. Do you want to watch one last video or to end our session for today and meet on Wednesday, inshallah?
Okay, we can watch another video.
Okay, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so let's watch one last video.
لو عايز تتكلم مع حد بالانجلش وعايز تقول له ان انت جامد.
English should be fun. So how about having some fun with your friends and learning English together? How can you do this? With English games. They're great fun and a great way to improve your language. So, fancy trying them? Great, let's go. I'm Deirdre Nicholas, your personal language coach in English Academy. Groups and for teachers, because many of these games can be adapted for use in the classroom as well as at home and with groups of friends. So, the first and most important question, can games help you to learn English? Well, the short answer is yes, absolutely, and they're fun too. Research has shown that different types of games such as video games, vocabulary games and team games can help you learn English faster. They improve overall comprehension and understanding. They improve linguistic skills. You'll be able to remember more. They will enhance your language skills and development. And they make learning fun and exciting. So, as we say in England, what's not to love? Now, obviously, you can't use games on their own to study English, but they can certainly be part of a combined way of learning. So how do they improve English then? So, of course, a lot of it is to do with practice in these games, but also these games often combine many of the linguistic skills. Certainly, you'll be speaking, reading and listening, and even writing for some games. Video games improve reading and comprehension skills, and vocabulary and team games improve speaking. Oh, and vocabulary, of course. And the other really great thing is that using games to learn English removes the fear of making mistakes, because the whole English learning environment is much more relaxed. So, let's get started. I'm going to give you 7 great English games that you might like to try. Number 1, cards game. This is a great game to develop vocabulary and get you thinking. Make some cards with different random nouns, verbs and adjectives, one on each card. For example, my brother, my uncle, likes eating, loves smelling, bicycle, cats, slimy, insects. Then, either on your own or in a class or a group, try to create funny sentences out of these mixture of cards. For example, it could be cats love smelling slimy bicycles. The second game is 20
So what is
objects.
the name of the first game?
Cards
game.
game.
Yeah, cards game. How can we apply it?
We put the words, some words like brother, uncle, grandpa, grandma, and another word, love, like, hate, to form a sentence. The idea is to
Yeah.
form a sentence. Yes.
Yes, and how can we make it more advanced?
I can give them words like مثلا hate and ask them to give me its meaning, give the noun, the adjective, the adverb from
Yeah,
any.
great, Amani. Yes, okay. What else? What else? Can you
I
ask
use
them
fishbowl. I use
change the
fishbowl.
last word or the first word? For example, if they formed a sentence, I like apples. What about asking them to choose or to talk about what they like? For example, Amani said, I like apples. What about you, Hannah? Can you tell us about what you like?
Yes, I use this game by using some boxes. One box has subjects, he, she, it,
Yeah.
you, they. The second has some verbs. Some verbs has S, and the others haven't any S. The third one has some objects. I mean object.
Yes, some nouns or some words. Okay.
You understand me?
Yes,
Yes.
sure.
I want to
You have
teach.
you,
Yes,
you
I
have
want to
three
teach.
you have okay, Hannah, you have
Make-
3 boxes. The first one you put the subject, either the pronouns or the nouns. The second one you put the verbs. For example, in the present simple, you put clean verbs and verbs followed by S or ends with S. And
Yes.
at the last box, you put a lot of different objects, maybe nouns, maybe whatever. Okay, and you ask them to choose haphazardly some words and rearrange the sentences or form
Yeah.
sentences.
Is it correct or not?
Yeah, of course, it's correct. Okay, so they try to think of the right subject-verb agreement. For example, if someone chooses I, and the other
Yes,
one
that's
chooses
what I mean.
has, and the third one chooses a ball. So, and another one you has a card of have. So you mean you ask them to try to stand in order with the right sentence formation together. For example, I stands beside I and a ball, for example. So they form a
Yes.
sentence, I have a ball. Great,
Yes, I used
great,
it.
really.
Grade 3.
Yes, really wonderful, Hannah. And please, we want to see or we want to watch your videos with your learners. Try to video record some parts of your lessons because you are really amazing. And this is very important with our learners and with ourselves as teachers to have some video records. And this was the first thing we assured at the beginning of the mentorship. Do you remember? Do you remember during the observation part to give ourselves a good reflection and feedback? We have to video record some parts of our lessons with our learners and how do they interact and of course practice the language with us. Great, Hannah, and thank you, and wonderful as usual, Hannah. Excellent.
This is a great one to test memory, vocabulary, and it involves writing. Put 20 objects on your desk or on a table if you're at home.
This is yours.
And get your students to look at them for 1 minute. Then cover the items over and get each person to write out as many of the objects as they can remember in English. If you're in a class, you could get students to self-correct or peer correct, or maybe even in a group of friends, you can give a prize to the person that remembers them most and spells them correctly.
So what is the name of the second game?
20 objects.
Yes, 20 objects.
20
And
objects.
yeah, in NTTP, do you remember? It has another name. Okay, I don't remember it, but it's the same idea, I think, to have a bag with some objects. You try to show them to the students, and after that, you ask them to try to remember as much words as they can. And
guessing
the
names of the objects.
It's a Chinese game, but I don't remember the name. Noha, do you remember the name of that game?
I remembered the game itself, but not its name.
Yeah, yes, it's the same. I don't remember the name. It's called, I think, okay.
Chinese something.
No, the Chinese Whisper, no, it's another game.
Yes.
But it's Jim's bag, or I'll remember it inshallah. هفتكرها بإذن الله. Okay. So it's the same as 20 objects. We can adapt it, by the way, not 20 objects, according to the number of vocabulary you are teaching to our learners. Maybe 5 objects, maybe 10 objects, maybe 15 objects. So it depends on the number of the vocabulary you are using during your lesson. And you can add more objects as much as you can if you are trying to revise the whole unit. So you put the objects, maybe you can put them on the floor. You can, before giving instructions, you can show them to the learners. You can ask them to tell you what is the name of this object, what is this till they are perfect and know all the spelling and the name of the objects. After that, you can cover them or put them upside down on the floor or face down to the floor and ask for example, 2 boys or 2 girls or a boy and a girl as a kind of racing and competition to try to remember as much words as they can, and the one who remembers or mentions the more words will be the winner, and you can give them a prize or it's something very free and you can all apply it. You can ask the winner to be the teacher and ask his friends and choose two other pair of his friends to role play the game or to play the game. Okay, let's move to the third game.
3. Fun random letters.
Random letters.
People really love this one. It's great as a filler at the end of a lesson, or if you're at home with children, it helps them to be much less bored. Get your children or your students, if you're in class, to write down 6 columns, draw 6 columns on a piece of paper and write 6 categories at the top. Now, these are usually related to things that you've been studying, or perhaps if you're at home, things that your children are interested in. They could be things like food, cities, countries, animals, and so on. Then you select a random letter, let's say an S, and students or your children write down 1 word in each category for that letter. So for example, if it was food, it might be spinach, or cities, maybe San Francisco, countries, Spain, animal, snake, and so on. And repeat with as many new letters as you like and as many times as you like. It's really good for nouns and vocabulary. Now, of course, a great one to encourage speaking and communication is my number 4.
So what is the name of the third game?
Found random letters.
Yes, it's like أتوبيس complete برضه. هي نفس الفكرة. We choose the
Yes.
letter and encourage the
You
students
6
to...
columns and write some names, some cities, countries, animals in this, and students write according to each column what are the names of all these different categories.
Yes, and the students like it, by the way. Yes, exactly, it is. Okay.
Charades.
Charades.
Now, this works best for a small group or divide the class and create a competition. It gets people up and about and moving and motivated. You write down words on little bits of paper for students to choose. Verbs always work particularly well. Divide your class or your group into 2 teams and have someone from one team act out the word. The other team have to guess what the word is. You'd be surprised at how much English is needed for this, because obviously all the guessing has to be done in English. Number 5, Pictionary. Now, you may well have heard of this. You can do the actual game at home, but if you want to do it in class, you could do a Whiteboard Pictionary version. Divide your class or your group into 2 teams and record their points on the board. Write a word on a piece of paper and then get one person from Team A to come up and draw the word on the board. Their team has to see if they can guess what the word actually is by the drawing, and they have to suggest it all in English, of course. Number 6, Scavenger Hunt. Now, this works really well at home, even amongst groups of adults, but definitely with your own children. You give a person a list.
I remember the name of the game, Kim's Bag. It was Kim's Bag.
Kim's
Yes,
bag.
Kim's Bag. Kim's
Kim's
Bag.
bag,
Yes,
yes.
it was.
Yes.
Yeah, Kim's Bag. It was a
Kim's bag.
bag with some objects. We show them to the students, and after showing them to the students, we ask them into groups or into teams to try to remember as much objects as they can. It's the same as the game 20 objects, okay? And this game is the 6th one. It's the Scavenger Hunt. Let's switch it together.
List of things to find. They could just take a photo of it when they found it. This is a really great one if you're out for a walk, perhaps, with your family or going to the shops. And my last game, number 7.
Switch it again, the Scavenger Bag.
Scavenger Hunt. Now, this works really well at home, even amongst groups of adults, but definitely with your own children. You give a person a list of things to find. They could just take a photo of it when they found it. This is a really great one if you're out for a walk, perhaps, with your family or going to the shops. And
so how can children play the Scavenger Hunt? How can we ask children to play it, the Scavenger Hunt? Do you know how? By the way, we can adapt it in different ways. For example, we can draw a table on the board. We can write some titles or some categories on the board. For example, food, animals, fruit, vegetables. We can ask the children to stick some flashcards in a way of a list in each group. For example, food, they can stick rice, meat, chicken, and, for example, bread. In the animals column, they can stick giraffe, goat, sheep, and chicken. And the
so
fruit,
they didn't write the word; they just stick photos only on the categories.
they hunt the right flashcards or the right pictures and stick it on the right column as a kind of list. Or you can draw, or you can, as the Hana do in a simple way, you can have some boxes on the ground. You can throw flashcards haphazardly. نحط كده flashcards بشكل عشوائي. And we can ask the learners according to the number of boxes, maybe 4, maybe 3, as the same idea as different kinds of categories, and food, animals, fruit, vegetables, school objects. You put the flashcards on the floor haphazardly and ask the learners to come out and hunt the suitable vocabulary or the suitable flashcard and put it in the right box. We can adapt
Categorizing.
it. Yes, categorizing, and we can adapt it in different and lots of ways, in a kind of race to quickly in 5 minutes to put as much words in the books as they can, and of course the one with the more words or the more hunts in the books will be the winner. Okay.
It's time for
Last
my
game, number
students
7,
now.
the speaking and listening game. You can do this one with just 2 people if you like, or a larger one, a larger group, which you can divide into teams. One person hides something small, maybe a pen, and the other person has to find it. The person that's hidden the object has to tell the other person how close they are to finding the object. So there's lots of speaking and listening and communication going on, in English of course. Language such as, you're really close, or you're going the wrong way. That's good, you're close now, can be used. If you'd like me to do another video on more games for you to learn English, just let me know, comment below this video because I'd love to hear your comments. Don't forget, if you're interested in me coaching you.
Okay, we come up to an end. So at the end of this session, can you tell me only one thing you liked in today's session? One thing you liked and you want to apply in your classes, inshallah?
They are all funny and good for my students.
Thank you, Hannah.
By the
Okay.
way, it's time for my students now to have their vocab books
Yeah,
to summarize the whole,
tell us more about
the
it.
whole book.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
I
you
divide.
mean you have their boxes and they collect all the vocabulary, they learn it all over the term?
Yes, but in some notebooks, vocab notebooks or
Yes,
vocab
great.
books.
Great, Hannah. Great idea. Okay. What about you, my dear friends and mentors of 2022, inshallah? What
like
one thing
we like
you
we like
liked
the
in this?
games and different kinds of games that we can use, especially with young learners, and how to apply it in the classroom. So it's
Which one
very.
did you like most? Which one did you like most and
I like
found in you?
I like fun random letters. I think it's applicable and we can do it with the students. And I like also the Chalkboard acronym, but I'm not sure how
Yeah.
to implement with the students if they don't know how to write the words beginning with A or B. I think
Just
it's
encourage them. Just
encouraging them.
encourage them.
Yes.
Yes, and don't nominate a specific person. You just
Yes.
tell them how to play the game and ask
Yes.
them to raise their hands to share or to tell you the names. And by the way, they will amaze you. يعني
Yes,
بجد
I
أصلا
think inshallah
هتلاقي
it's easy. I think it's easy.
إن شاء
Yes.
الله. Sometimes we can find that some games look maybe difficult. Maybe
Yes.
maybe you are not sure that your learners can do it, but by the
Yes.
way, they can do it more perfectly than you think. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what about the others? Did you like anything today in these games? Okay, what one thing you find confused today? Did you find any confusing point or idea today in today's session?